All right, go.
All right, who's doing the welcome?
Oh, you want me to do the welcome today?
Yeah. By the way, Brad, we're going to have some music before this, aren't we?
Wished. Don't even
Okay.
speak.
All
Don't.
right then. All right
We've
then.
already actually, John. We've already started because I have a surprise for you about the music.
Okay, because the thing is, for anyone who just last week we put what was, I suppose, the official first one out after the preliminary one, and then we all listened back to it, and I said we've got no music. We could do with some music. It just begins with us.
So, well, I want to hold off on that for a sec because I want to say hello to you properly before.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to bombard our listeners with experimental music, but I have a few. I have a few surprises for you. Okay,
Okay.
but first of all, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm in a hotel in Manchester. Fuck me, I've got to tell you, I'm in this hotel in Manchester called the Lowry, which is a really posh hotel. And
Right.
the reason that I'm here is that I'm filming a pilot, a new quiz show idea for BBC One, a pilot. And yesterday we were doing rehearsals down at Salford. You know the week that I've had. So I flew back from New York Thursday, arrived Friday at home, drove up on Saturday to Liverpool to go stay at my dad's house, get to my dad's house, stay there, spare room, love it, get a good sleep, and then I come over to Manchester to stay in the Holiday Inn, which is right next to the BBC. It's 30 yards walk from the door to the door. By far the most sensible place to stay. The worst night's sleep I've had ever. Like,
Oh my
ever.
God.
But you know,
What?
it's half jet lag, and then you're half trying to make yourself go to sleep, and then
Yeah.
you're going
Oh,
around. You think, oh, it was a fucking nightmare. So yesterday I was in the studio all day, grumpy. So they've moved me here. But what's good is here is within 10 minutes walking distance of the Frog and Bucket Comedy Club, the first club
yes.
I ever did. So last night, Monday night, was their they do this open mic night for new acts, where all the new acts have to get up and they have to do at least 5 minutes. And in the audience, if they think the shit, they put cards up and boo
Oh,
them.
right. So it's like a hook, like a
Oh,
hook.
yeah, brutal.
Wow.
And it wasn't like that when I started, but I went last night and I got up and did a bit. It was great.
Did you get hooked?
I never got hooked. I got past the cards. No, it was great to go and do the first comedy club I've ever done, and to do it last night on a Monday night. Because when I do the tour later in the year, I'm going back there to do it. I'm doing all the arenas and the Frog and Buckets, and it was just great. It was really brilliant to see a comedy club bursting at the seams on a Monday night.
Yeah. So you've really come full circle from starting at the Frog and Bucket to being too posh to be able to
Exactly.
fall asleep at a Holiday Inn. That you couldn't sleep in a 3-star hotel.
Couldn't.
Your wealthy mind couldn't process how does one sleep in
Look at
such.
the pillars I've got here. Oh, the pillars. Big. I'm like sleeping on clouds. Look at them.
For those that are not watching, John is showing off his 5-star hotel pillows.
Oh,
How can I sleep on these Holiday Inn pillows? Don't you know who I am?
tell you, I have slept everywhere. I have no problem sleeping, and I'm sure. And I've stayed at loads of holidays. It was just that room. There was a generator going. The mattress wasn't like the mattress in my dad's house. The pillows were hard. Yeah, I'm a fucking diva. Fair enough. I get it.
Well,
I get it.
all joking aside, so that I've lived my whole life with that 5-hour jet lag. That's literally like my existence, and it always sneaks up on you on day 3 or 4 where you think it's gone, and then you go to bed and like. So I never fuck around with it. I always take like a. Like a NyQuil for the first 4 or 5 nights. I always just make sure I take a little bit.
It's the third or fourth day. The big thing with jet lag, you get away with it the first day because you can't
you're wrecked
on adrenaline. But the second or third day, God, I was done in. Anyway, as I was being tucked in last night,
with your turned down bed.
down bed with a little bit of chocolate, and I was sucked in. And then they came in, and somebody played a harp so I could go to sleep.
You know, Hannah, I was joking with Hannah one time. I tried to do it as a joke, but like it never really worked on stage. But is hotel rooms just change your perception immediately? Because like you probably know, like I'm a slob. Like I'm not like
Yeah.
a neat guy, and I don't want to gross people out, but like somebody has to remind me to change my sheets. Like I'm not like somebody that's like, oh, I need fresh sheets like every
Yeah.
5 days, right? And like I never make my bed. Like I really am a slob. I'm just outing myself.
Again, this comes back to what we were saying last time, because you've been a single man for most of your life. So you've never had somebody going, mate, it's February. Let's change this shit.
Well, Hannah's a slob too, but that's not what this bit is about. So this bit is about the fact that for some reason, like when I'm in a hotel, if I leave in the morning and like come back at like 2 p.m. and they haven't cleaned the room and like made the bed and changed the sheets, I'm like, how can I sleep in this? How can I get back in this bed? The sheets are wrinkled from yesterday. And like it's like an immediate perception change.
No, I know. Oh, it's great though. This does feel like befitting a man of my status.
Can I say something dirty? Can I say something dirty?
Say whatever you like.
Don't you feel more what's the word? Compelled to have a wank when you're in a hotel? Is that too much? Is that because I don't know. I feel like it's like you can't waste.
The way you said that is not too much. It's not too much.
Because
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't knock one out last night.
it's the solitude.
It never even entered me head. But the next time I'm in a hotel and I knock one out, I'll be thinking of you.
Try to get hard, and if you do, let me know. I'll have a chat.
This is for Des. This is for Des, and I hope he changed the sheets after. How's your week been? Because after the storms, did you settle?
Everything settled, and it was great doing backing shows, doing Irish shows, you know, and like, you know, years ago, if I was like indulging heavy in like really Irish stuff, I would feel guilty. I would feel like you're not evolved as a comedian because this is all you have, you know? All you have is this, I'm an outsider in Ireland and I can make these observations and Irish people think they're hilarious. But like these days I'm like performing all over the world, and I was in Kilkenny and I went as local. I was doing 10 minutes on like their local schools and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Cause Rafe, did you know that Rafe Fiennes went to boarding school in Kilkenny? I had no idea. He's nominated for an Oscar, and he went to boarding school in Kilkenny. So I went hard on the local, and I was very happy.
Yeah, but also, like you are now a foreigner visiting Ireland.
I'm not, John. I do not accept that. I'm a bi-coastal.
What's a bi-coastal?
I live in both places.
You've fucking made that up. No one has ever said I'm a bi-coastal.
It's not a sexual identity.
I'm a bi-coastal.
It's not the B in LGBTQ. No, honestly, it's used a lot in the States for people that live between New York and LA.
So you've adopted it to make you look more cool.
No, I've adopted it to not let Irish people think that I've abandoned my Irish life. I'm literally in my own gaff in Rialto right now.
Of course. You.
So anyway, listen. All joking aside, can we? So last night I'm messing around on an AI music app.
Oh, right? You mean you put musicians out of work?
No, John. What I mean is, I was preparing for this morning's podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you think I was going to go and
get a band?
Try to? It's like, hey, can you give me 30 seconds of me and John Bishop on the Bishop Exchange? So yeah, I went around the clubs of Dublin last night trying to find an intro song. Well, actually, all joking aside, you know, these things you need like permission. You gotta like buy the song, so it can be complicated, right? Anyway, I was just joking around on this AI music app. So I put in, give me a podcast intro song for a podcast called The Bishop Exchange with Des Bishop, or with John Bishop. I always put you first, with John Bishop and Des Bishop. And sometimes, not always, I said, including the line, not related, but relatable. I sent them to Brad last night. Now, we don't have to play them all, Brad, but can you play the first one I sent you? This one was in the style of techno.
Listen in and stay a while. The Bishop Exchange has begun. Tradition run. Knowledge shared under the sun. Podcast where we all become one.
Yes! Come on!
I need to go to the gym.
Yeah, that was the first one. When that got to the chorus, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That was literally 2 lines I typed in, and they're like making up these basic lyrics, and I was dying to myself. I was like, this experience needs to be shared.
Honestly, I felt like I was in a spin class then.
Yeah, exactly. And people need to know, we started at 8 a.m. this morning. I mean, this is like morning radio here.
This
You know?
Yeah.
That was better than a cup of coffee. Okay, give me another one, Brad.
Tune in now, it's the voice of change. John drops wisdom, Des brings the fire. Together they take the convo higher. So plug in, stay tuned, don't look away. The Bishop Exchange makes your day.
What? The Bishop Exchange, it makes your day. Come on. You know that. What? Sorry, I have an impingement in my my C4, C5. We gotta go easy. I have spinal stenosis. We gotta go. I'm not even kidding. We gotta go easy. But tell me you're not kind of like a little impressed with how good
that was impressive, but scarily impressive.
It's scary, man, because this took all of like 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
Wow.
Imagine if you're a musician right now and you're thinking about all the piano lessons, the guitar lessons, your parents keeping you under pressure, and then the garage sessions with your mates. 15 seconds. I'm not saying it's the best song ever, but 15 seconds?
Yeah, but listen, I mean, the thing is with that you put something in and then they put words together and they put a voice to it and then they put all of that's going on, all that creativity is gone. If you as a performer can develop things and make them a little bit better, then you don't get better. You know, it's like me doing that gig last night. I did a gig. I didn't have to do a gig. I've done millions of gigs. But doing a gig made me a tiny little bit better. Whereas if I could have just dropped an AI in and sent it over.
I know, but here's the thing. It's like, that's not a human voice, right?
No.
Like, you really have to get that in your head. Like, that's not a human. That's just a machine. So, like, how talented do we really think we are that if they've already managed to do that, like, I don't think it's that long before they'll be able to drop comedy albums, you know?
Yeah.
But, so, Brad.
Brothers in the chapel.
Oh, this is.
Welcome to the Bishop Exchange.
I put in like.
Boundless voices never strange. Sacred echoes, hearts entranced. In this
Sorry, that was
timeless
I said
song.
in the style of Gregorian chanting. I did an 80s one, but I think I sent it to Brad incorrectly. So Brad, play the one that I thought was I actually thought this one here could literally be the intro song. Although actually the one earlier could also be. Brad, play that one.
Yo, unpack the moments to make you think twice. Hot takes on hot topics. No
90s hip hop. What? 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 Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bishop Exchange. It's John and Des.
John and
coming
Des,
back.
yeah.
Coming back at you from our kitchen and our 5-star hotels. Some of us living large. Some of us staying true to our roots here in the hood, in Dolphin Spawn, Dublin. What? I mean, like when that came out, I was like, this song is. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you. Mate, it's
frightening.
Because also, should we, as performers, take something like that? You know what I mean? You put it in AI, and then we use it as AI, and then by default, we've robbed from our own industry.
I'm open to that conversation. Like, are we saying that this is unacceptable? Because I don't. You know, it's the same with like Napster. Are we at the Napster stage of music downloads? I don't. You know. I don't know where. I don't even know what the conversation is right now. Actually,
yeah, no, it's the same with all of these things. It's the same with streaming services. It's the same with when people were copying. People were again. This is a generational thing. But I remember we used to have a thing in England where like you'd have Top of the Pops, and particularly in Liverpool, we used to have this. Oh God, Radio Merseyside used to play the romantic hour or the love hour or something like that. And the you used to play the radio and have a tape ready,
yeah,
and then record the song. So the DJ would be going, and there's a great hit coming up now from I don't know. Let me just think. Here's a new Madonna.
Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, Spandau Ballet, Rio, and you go. And then you'd hope the dickhead didn't talk over the end of it, and then you go pause, and everyone's going, you robbing music.
Yeah, especially Duran Duran. We're definitely thinking that Spandau Ballet was robbing their song because Rio was Duran Duran. Duran Duran was like, "Why the fuck is your man from EastEnders? Why is your man from EastEnders playing our fucking music?"
Oh my God, what a gold! You know what I mean? But yeah, I get it, mate. Honest to God, that's why we need AI. I lived through the 80s, and I got the bands mixed up.
Next episode, I'll do a couple more because they are quite fun. But yeah, man, I totally remember the recording and then recording stuff off the TV. And do you remember it was like a big deal, like pause the recording during the ads? Do you remember that? You'd be trying to get the VHS without the ads.
Oh yeah. When you're recording, Betamax videos and all of it, and you're recording so that you could watch the film properly
without ads.
That sort of press play and record at exactly the right time so that you could get a cassette. We've got loads of cassettes in our house. Loads.
You still do?
Yeah, Melanie's got loads, and I'll have to have a go through them. We were thinking about getting the record player out and getting all that sorted, but I just haven't got round to doing it. See, when I was a teenager, I didn't have enough money to go and buy records, so I just didn't. Whereas Melanie was posher than me, so she's got some brilliant records.
I actually, when I moved from the other house to over here, to this, I live in the same neighborhood. But anyway, I actually did just donate all the CDs. I had a lot of CDs that took me like a long time to build up.
But do you think there's a little bit of that's heartbreaking?
I do. But here's the thing. I was only thinking about it because I was in a process of needing to move them or not. The whole rest of the time, they sat there outside of my thoughts. So I know sometimes people get sentimental. It's always like, I can't throw that out. And it's like, okay, well, the next time you move in 20 years will be the next time you think about that thing. So I feel like sometimes you got to be brutal.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. We're going through that in our house at the moment. And, you got to be brutal. And Luke, my son, he's brilliant at it now. He's the one who used to accumulate everything. Now he's brutal at cutting everything back. And I said to Melanie, like, what I want to do over a long period of time is my ambition. Like we've got a lovely house at the moment and all that stuff. But I know I'm aiming to a little 2-bedroom flat with a red cord and a
What's a red cord? Oh, well, yeah.
Hello. Can I have another bath? Hello.
We're all aiming for
I know,
that.
but
We all
what I
just hope
wanna
that there's
do-
someone there when you pull the red cord. That's the mission, to make
Yeah.
sure that when you pull the red cord, there's somebody to pick you up.
No, so what I mean is, I don't want to get there. Well, I'm talking 20, 30 years away, but I don't want to get there and have a load of stuff I want to deal with.
Yeah,
I want to,
know.
over time, have less and less stuff. And at some point, you've got to turn around and go, like, I loved this when I got it, but it didn't work for me now. Totally get that. Totally.
Now, I do want to point out that there's there's a negative side to this, which is so my dad worked for Burberry's, which then was rebranded as Burberry while he was still working there. And it became like a hot brand again. And we always had Burberry clothes in our house from the 80s on. My dad was getting stuff. And when we were doing the various different moves, my dad died, my mother sized down, then my mom died, she sized down. I slowly got rid of all this old Burberry stuff. So Hannah and I went to Paris about 2 years ago, and she was big into going to the consignment shops, like all the vintage, the high-end vintage. And I saw coats that were in my closet not that long before on sale for like 1,500 euro. And I couldn't believe it. I'd say I threw out 30 grand's worth of clothes. I was in my, just like, let's get this done. Because everyone's always like, oh, we can give those away. And it's like, to who? And, everyone's always got the idea. And it's like, oh, do you want to take it? No, not me. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, but there's one upstairs in this gaff. I kept one Burberry raincoat. There's one that I have. But am I going to sell it? No, I'm going to keep it.
You got to keep it. And also, it's a link to your dad, because, a lot of people won't know that your dad, was a model, wasn't he? And, he worked for Burberry, but he was also, good-looking man.
Yeah, he was, yeah. No, yeah, trust me. I got plenty of links to my dad. My cheekbones. I prefer my cheekbones to my Burberry raincoat.
What reminds you of your dad? Not my face. This.
Yeah, my cheekbones and my average size penis.
You had that conversation with your dad?
No, I never did, actually. But all I can say is that when I was a kid, I thought his was humongous. But then as an adult, I realized, it's just normal. And he probably had morning wood when I was watching him take a piss.
This has gone very cock-orientated, hasn't it?
No, we only had one Jax in our gaff.
Nice, okay.
So sometimes, in the morning, it was quite communal,
Of course, yeah. So anyway, listen, we've got some developments on what potentially might be a theme tune made by robots. So we've got that. The other thing as well is that we have, put the podcast out there, and we have had some listeners, and it's doing well in very interesting territories, including being number 10 in the comedy podcast in Guatemala. We are listed as number 10. I think that's brilliant. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, who is listening? How many podcasts are on in Guatemala in the comedy category if we're number 10 after the first one?
So thanks to all the listeners that are getting us.
No, listen, that's great. I mean, there's some of the feedback that we've been getting is good, and some of the stuff that we've been thinking of incorporating. We will evolve based on what people are telling us. This is very much me and you learning how to do this. I know you've done these for a lot longer. I've never done podcasts in this format before, and also what you've got to look at is, like, we have a busy schedule ourselves, so it's great if people give us some feedback, because at least then we've got something to work on. But one of the things we were thinking of doing, which I'd like to try
as a segment,
as you demanded we have.
John, will you stop making me the diva?
Okay.
Don't try to put the diva on me.
All right then. As you suggested, would be a good idea is having segments. One of which
in our literal brainstorming sessions where we were coming up with ideas within the safe space of creativity.
Yeah.
I made a suggestion that could be accepted or declined.
But it was accepted, and it was a good idea. And it's called the resurrection. where we take some old material. In fact, we were just talking about it, weren't we? Old stuff like tape and music and all that.
Exactly.
Stuff where you've got jokes about stuff that you can't really say anymore because it's not as relevant as it was.
Yeah, it's literally the cleaning. It's going into the closet. It's 15, 20 years stuff going into the closet and being like, oh my God, is this still usable?
Exactly. It's exactly what we were just saying about actual physical stuff, materials. The same.
Yes.
You've got this.
We're going into the
I'll give you
creative.
an example. And this only came to mind because we were talking about various stuff like DVDs. And this was on one of the specials that I recorded because it did happen. I was doing the Liverpool Arena. I think I was doing the Sunshine Tour. I was at the Liverpool Arena doing a few nights. Because I was doing a few nights at the arena and it was Christmas time, Melanie said, right, well, if you're going to be staying in Liverpool, you're only working of a night. You've got all day doing nothing. And I'm going, oh, well, yeah, it's a bit. She said, no, you've got all day. You're literally staying where the shops are. I'm going to send you the list and you can get all the kids' Christmas shopping and all that stuff. So I said, fine, that's okay. And I was queuing up and my DVD had been launched by I can't remember which DVD it was, but it'd been launched.
Can I just interrupt you very quickly to say that, like, Hannah asked me before, like, like you had all these specials, like where did they go out? And I was like, no, that they were DVDs. We didn't even call them specials.
No,
like my latest DVD. Even that sounds ancient, and it's not that long ago.
But you're right, where people go, where did it go out? But it was a physical thing. You have to physically get and physically put into something and play it. And so what had happened? They launched the DVD and they made a big fuss in the HMV in Liverpool. And I'd done a signing and all this stuff. And I turn up to go to HMV to buy stuff for the kids off the list. And there's a life-size cutout of myself. Right.
Yeah,
you've done. You see yourself. You're looking at yourself, and I've got a hat on and a scarf, and I'm thinking. On one level, I'm quite proud. On another level, I feel a bit awkward and embarrassed. And there's me going,
yes.
"Hey, you the guy?
Yeah.
Come on, dude, come and buy my DVD." So I'm like, and I'm queuing, and what's happening? It was a zigzag, a snake queue, busy because again, when you think of those businesses, everybody's buying stuff which now you just download. That way down the snaky queue, there was a woman walking towards me carrying my DVD.
Mm-hmm.
He's carrying my DVD, and I'm going the other. She's carrying, and we end up arriving at the tills at the same time. She's got my DVD, and I'm sort of stood next to her. And I thought, I don't know, what do I say something? Do I sign it? Do I say no? And as I step forward, the guy on my counter obviously recognises who I am. And she steps forward to the guy next to me. And I just said to her, oh, is that for Christmas? And she went, I said, oh, hope you enjoy it. And she went, I don't like him, to be honest. I got it for me fella. I think he's shit. She actually just said, to be honest, I've got it for me fella. I don't really like him. And I'm like that. And then the lad saving me, he's looking at me, and I'm stood next to a cardboard cutout of my own face. It was fucking embarrassing. But like, you can't say that now. You can't do that story on stage because there's people in there who are like under 25 who go, what's the, there's no concept.
Well, that's the thing. You have to do a TED Talk in advance. That's why I always joke in my shows, because sometimes I go, honestly, I love the nostalgia. Like, I love it. That's the great thing about something like this, like the Resurrection, is actually a lot of times there's comedy in the TED Talk trying to explain to people that not that long ago, we were queuing up. Like, Spotify was a physical queue. So it basically took 4 hours to get that album that you got in 5 seconds. You didn't have to, get all the, you had to get all the songs to get one song. I mean, not a lot of people were buying single DVDs of one song.
I know, and that's the thing now. You see people like that going, oh, fucking Spotify's slow, the internet's slow. You think it's not as slow as getting on a bus, going into town, walking across town, finding the shop, going round the shop, finding the thing, and then queuing up to buy it off some kid who looks like he's never kissed a girl. That's
Yeah,
the difference.
and by the way, it has to be in stock.
It has to be there.
There's no going on the website and like in stock.
You don't know. You don't even know if they've got it till you've gone. And you're sat there going, oh, it didn't download quick enough. But that bit of material, man, can never be resurrected because
You don't think
takes
so?
too long. It takes too long to explain it. All
There
right,
is a lot
good.
of that.
All right, well, I've decided that a lady in a DVD shop saying that she didn't like me is not getting resurrected. It's dead.
Well, it just did. It lives on as
Okay.
a podcast. You know, it's been resurrected as in the podcast form.
Okay, well, next week you can try and bring something. Brad, have we got any questions?
Let's go to the listeners, Brad. Let's go to the listeners.
For anyone listening to this, so you get an option to send a voicemail in. It's in there. I don't even know what the system is that it goes into.
It goes to a website called Telby.
And it goes to Brad. Brad filters them. So this is the first time. I don't even know how many we've got. So this is the first time that either of us have heard them.
So hit us.
This is Brad.
Hey boys, so I'm calling and I'm curious. I think you guys are both straight, but I'm curious if you weren't, do you think that you two would make a good couple? I will laugh if you answer this, and it really means that you are an ally and confident in who you are as men if you answer this question. So let's hear it.
That is a great.
First of all, if you are, it's always nice to have somebody's name if you put it in, because then you can respond to the person.
That is from Michaela.
Oh, it's from Michaela.
Michaela.
Okay, Michaela.
I like the way she was like, if you don't answer that, you're not a man.
You're not a man and you're not an ally. Okay. Right.
A lot of pressure, John.
A lot of pressure. Who goes first there?
Well, first of all, in this context, you'd be the guy that's into younger guys.
Yeah, but I'm into
Am I the twink? Am I the twink in this relationship?
You can't be the twink. First of all, you're more grey than me, and you can't even move your arms along because you've got something wrong with your fucking neck.
John, we've been together a long time.
I know we've been together a long time, and if there was ever a frisson, there would have been a frisson. I mean, listen, Des, I think you're an attractive guy, but I think maybe we should just stay friends. I also think, like, we're big lads. You know what I mean? We're big lads. And it'd be a hell of a scrap. Come here. You come here.
Are you saying we're both tops? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know. I don't know who's tops, who's bottom. But what I'm saying is, there'd be a lot of rattling in the hotel room. That's what you'd be coming in wanking at you in the hotel. We're in a hotel.
The only thing I would appreciate in our relationship is that you could identify with my ailments. You know
exactly. The problem is it would be exciting for the first half an hour, and then I'd end up being your carer. I'd end up thinking, oh, that's good. You putting your knee brace on, your hip, you know what I mean?
Listen, John, despite the fact that you're 8-9 years older than me,
10. I think I'm 10 years older than you. I'm 58.
Oh yeah, well, I'm 40 now, so 9 years older, right? You do love trying to make it seem like I'm the old man in this relationship.
You're
okay? And
physically the one with the ailments.
You're projecting, John.
No.
And my knee is because I tore my ACL skiing from 4,000 meters above ski level in Aspen. It wasn't because I have arthritis.
Okay. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
As you can see, this relationship is not going to work.
I know. if we were on Grindr, and my phone bleeped, I'd go, oh, he's a good looking guy, and then you put your list of ailments, I'd go, nah.
You kidding me? Listen, like all gay relationships, I feel like we would have been divorced already. Like I feel like the gays have these great relationships. I feel like they do end up kind of not lasting a lot of the time.
Do you think so? I know I've got a lot of gay friends who've got long-term relationships. And
really?
Yeah. Well, Bradley's a gay man. Bradley, is it true that gay men don't have gay men and gay women, are the relationships more prone to breaking up than straight people?
I would say it's maybe true, but I'm in an 8-year relationship currently, which is kind of long.
That's wrong.
No, especially, how old are you, Brad?
Yeah, 20. Just kidding.
I think it is a thing. Like a lot of my gay friends who've been in long-term relationships, like Cameron who you met last week and so on, the long-term relationships, and they always say, "Yo," which means in gay years I've been together 5 years, but in straight years that's like 15 years or something like that, because but I think as society's changed and I think as it's become more normal, you do get, I think the success rate within a gay relationship is probably not that much different than in a straight relationship. And I think we would have a good relationship, but I think the problem is you're messy around the house and you've already said that. You're messy around the house and yeah, I like girls. So well, I like my wife.
Hey,
I'm
John,
married.
this is a hypothetical, man.
I know it's a hypothetical, but come on, it's playing with your head, isn't it? You're not thinking about it.
No, I was trying to think of I was trying to think about like, would you be my type? We're very similar. Like, I feel like you kind of like you don't tend to go for people that are exactly like you. I think we're very similar, but I'll never know. Was I if I was gay, would I be more for the Zaddy or would I be more for the twink? We'll never know.
Okay. Oh, and which would I be of those two?
You're the Zaddy, John. I know you're in denial about being the older man in this relationship.
Hang on.
You're the Zaddy. You're the Zaddy.
I'm Brad, what the fuck's he talking about? What's it?
Why don't you just ask me? I think it came from gay culture, but Hannah calls me a Zaddy. And when I do jokes about gray hair, usually like if there's a younger woman in the crowd, somebody will like shout from the crowd like Zaddy.
Okay.
So, but John,
and what's a twink? What's the twink?
A twink is like the younger kind of like who's a good example of a twink, Brad?
Like Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet's like a twink.
Just a good-looking younger man.
Yeah, but like skinny, hairless type.
Hairless. Oh God. Fuck. I gotta tell you this. So
you've triggered John.
No.
The one time.
Yeah. I mean, was it? I didn't.
Now I remember.
I remember when we were in that sauna. No, talking about that, like Brad said, twink, hairless, and I hope a friend of mine was talking about Sitges in.
Oh yeah, Sitges near Barcelona.
Near Barcelona, where he would go sometimes with his partner, and he said they have these big gay weekends, and he said, and I said, well, what goes on? He said, well, there's different bars for different people. And I said, well, what do you mean different people? He said, well, there's bars for the bears. And I went, a what? He said, a bear's a big. Bradley, you can chip in at any point here if I'm getting this wrong.
No, let's hear your definition, John.
But I said, well, what's a bear? He said, well, if you're into big, hairy men, you go to where all the bears go. And I'm going, for a bear. And I said, what are you? And he said, I'm an otter.
What's an otter?
Well, he's slim and hairy. That's an otter.
I am a smooth Zaddy. In fact, I think I'm gonna name my next special Smooth Zaddy because I'm like an old dolphin. I'm like a dolphin with arthritis. That's me. I'm not a hairy guy.
Okay. You know? Right. So, well, there you go.
So Brad, hit us with another.
Please ask us a question about football.
Hit us, Brad.
Hi, John. Hi, Des. I hope you guys are well. Des, I've been following you since your first gig in Gorby's nightclub in Cork all those years ago. John, I've been following you for years as well. So continued success to you both guys. My question is, you've both been hardworking in the comedy circuit for a long time. Is there any particular person or persons who are mentors for you, and how did they help? Second question or quick question: would you consider yourselves mentors now?
Interesting
Okay.
question. What did he say his name, Brad?
His name's Michael.
Michael. So,
Michael from Cork.
Michael from Cork. So mentors. Well, interesting. I mean, when I first met you, Eddie Bannon had brought you over. Eddie Bannon's an established comic. Was that in the role of a mentor or a manager or
Nah,
a
I
groomer?
I just got booked for that gig, you know. I would say honestly for me, first of all, can I just point out that you know the way a lot of people will meet you and they'll be like, I was at one of your first gigs, and it was actually like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But the place that he mentioned means that he was at literally one of my first 3 shows.
Wow.
Because I only did 3 gigs in Gorby's, and they were my first 3 shows. So this guy saw me at my very, 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 very beginning in 1990. Yeah, so that literally was my first show. He's probably at my first gig, which is pretty amazing. So anyway, I would say honestly, in the early days, when I watch back on my early stuff, I was very influenced by Tommy Tiernan, just in like rhythm, you know. And Tommy was very good to me in the early days. Like Tommy, like I just remember like being over his house and just like stuff that like he didn't need to do for a new comic to make me feel like I belonged. He didn't give me like a lot of nurturing material wise, but I could tell that I watched a lot of Tommy in the early days. I can see that in my rhythm. So he would, you know, mentor, I don't know, but definitely like strong inspiration. Once I started, obviously I was inspired by like Eddie Murphy and stuff from my childhood, but like once I started, Eddie Murphy was like my guy. And I'd have to say that David O'Doherty wasn't like a mentor, but because we kind of started together, David O'Doherty was good for motivating me and actually, funnily enough, helping me to understand. He had a better understanding of like what he was trying to do earlier than me. His older brother was a comedian, and like he just understood the process a little better. I understood the stagecraft, but I didn't understand the process. And he motivated me from doing the International Comedy Club every Thursday to like challenge myself a bit on what I was trying to say. So I'd say I put those 2 people down as early inspirations.
That's good. I mean, for me, it was kind of a little bit difficult because the life I was living when I started, I was I was a sales manager in a pharmaceutical company, and I had kids, and you know, and I was at the time a single dad, so I didn't hang around, so I didn't spend time outside of the comedy club with many comedians. But what I found is I got a lot of support early on about people saying you've got something, you can do this. I mean, you know, people like Tommy, who I think are on another level. I was always inspired by watching, but I didn't watch a lot of comedy before doing it. And so I only saw people who were in the clubs that I was in. But then getting positive feedback, you know, from people like Brendan Riley, who was long established on the circuit before I was. Steve Harris was another local comic who was brilliant, who was really, really good and supportive. Justin Morehouse, another one. You know, there's a lot of people knocking about, and then other people are like you know. Like I remember Jason Manford, who was younger than me, but had been doing a little bit longer. And I remember picking him up at his nan's house to take him for a gig. And like I was the support act, and I was driving the car to take him to the gig because he didn't have a car. And so there's all of these people that you come across along the way. And in terms of mentoring other people, it's a very interesting thing, because what happens, you're what people need to understand is comedians are not as competitive as people think. Everyone, there are people who get jealous about the success of others, and sometimes you see people go, God, how are they doing that and I'm not doing this? But in reality, the more people that do comedy, the better it is for everyone. And someone else's success is not taking bread off your table. What they're doing is you're just bringing more people to comedy, and it's brilliant that it's happening. So I applaud everyone's success. But what happened for me when you sort of do the circuit and then you sort of headlining on the circuit and then you're starting to break through to the next level, Jimmy Carr, was the one who went ahead first amongst my kind of generation of comedians. Michael went ahead, Alan Carr went ahead, but Jimmy was the one who kind of because Jimmy's work ethic is so much. But I remember when I started breaking through, Jimmy phoning me up and saying, look, a lot of things are going to happen now that have never happened before, and people are going to ask you to consider doing things or doing deals, and sometimes it's difficult to talk to people who are not necessarily being paid by you, so not your agents and all the rest. So if you want a different opinion or you just want to have a chat, I'm here. And he did that, and he sort of put the ladder down, and I've done that with other people coming through. Because what happens is you are suddenly in a world that you've never been in, and there's no one to talk to about it because you're not in a band. You're just you. So I learned that from him. He's been brilliant at that, and he's good at extending that hand. And I've tried to.
Jimmy Carr. Actually, it's probably an unknown thing about Jimmy Carr, that he's very generous with his time in relation to that. He's very supportive of people. And collaborative too. Actually, people don't know that.
Just quickly, I think.
Just quickly about the mentoring side. Joanne McNally gives me credit for mentoring her, which I think is overpraised, but she has said it publicly numerous times. But the one thing I will say is, because you reminded me of it there, is that when other people I knew got big after me, Kevin Bridges being a very good example. I remember sitting in a nightclub in Dublin with Kevin Bridges, and he'd blown up huge. And I said, Kev, the most important thing you need to know is do not look at the comments. Do not read about yourself on the internet, because I did that when I blew up and it broke my soul.
Yeah.
So please save yourself the pain and do not read about yourself. And that is what I tell everybody I know that blows up, is stay out of the comments.
Yeah.
That's my number one
thing. Because there's always going to be people knocking you. All you've got to do is read the room that you're in. Be in the room that you're in. And also, I suppose as well, you and Jason Bain were good for me, because when I was going to the Edinburgh Festival, I was not living in the comedy community. So hanging around with you and Jason were the most comedians that I hung around with, to be honest with you, during those 6 weeks up there.
So hey, Brad, can we take at least one more, please? Because they're quite good.
They're very good.
Morning, John. Morning, Des. I'm sat here waiting to get my car towed out in the mud because, like a complete idiot, I parked it on some grass, and in this weather wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done. What's been your worst travel disasters? Because I know the pair of you have done a fair bit of travelling in the past. And what's been your best experiences travelling as well? Cheers, guys.
Very good.
Thanks.
I'll tell you, the worst travel disaster that I had, and it was my own fault. I was riding a bicycle from Sydney back to Liverpool. I started off on the 26th of January in Sydney, in a park in the middle of Sydney, and I was riding out, and I loaded this bike, and I'd had no experience of travelling on a bike, no experience of riding long distance on a bike, and I loaded the bike with too much stuff. I had got 12 punctures in the first day. I was going to go on a round-the-world bicycle ride, and I got 12 punches on the first day. And so that was a problem. But the other problem was I had this stupid idea that the best thing to do is to get used to the sun. So I took my shirt off. So I rode bareback on a bicycle like that in January 26th. So it was the middle of the summer in Sydney, in Australia. I burnt me back. I got to a place called Newcastle. somebody who I was staying with saw me back, said, "You can't go anywhere." I had to lie face down for 3 days while she put aloe vera on my back. This nurse. And I had to post most of the stuff that I had on the bike. I had to send off because I was just carrying a load of shit I didn't need. I was carrying winter clothes for when I got into Europe.
Because that's Australia Day, right? The 26th of January.
Australia Day, yeah.
And that is a perfect. What happened to you is the perfect example of why Europeans should have never ended up there in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, I ended up with a broken bike and 3rd-degree burns. Sure. Big blister on my back.
Well, I have to say, travel disasters are not my speciality. But listen, everybody, your call-ins have been great. We'll go to them. We'll go to them earlier in the future so we can get a few more.
Yeah, they're really good, really good. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, so John, very important. We've picked Wednesdays are going to be our broadcast day. Is that right?
Yeah, no, because that'll work for us because wherever we are, we can definitely make sure that we can get it done so it can go out on a Wednesday.
So from now on, the congregation will meet on Wednesdays.
The congregation.
Pay attention to our Instagrams about posts for the messages. We actually have quite a few, so we have quite a bit to get through. We'll get to some of those next week. Spread the word, like and subscribe. Don't forget that it's on John's YouTube.
Yeah,
so
and subscribe.
You can watch it, subscribe to John's YouTube, but most importantly, when we post clips, share the clips, get the word out. The Bishop Exchange is not going anywhere. So,
nope. All right.
Thanks,
God bless.
Guys. Bye.